What are your thoughts about playing on the court of the man you used to coach for at Queens?
Yeah, I was there. I can't remember how long ago. Um, I got to the naming of the court night. I don't think I was at UVA, and it was really neat to see the former players, guys that we had coached and recruited in our first year there. And Coach Slayer just did such a fabulous job in building that program, and his name being on the court, it was certainly well deserved. So. But I've been there a couple of times where there was AAU events or something else. I can't remember. Um, so coaching on it, it'll probably, when I see his name, it'll probably bring back some really special memories. But then I'll know we're in a battle for the next 40 plus minutes. So that'll probably go away quickly.
How did you guys first connect, you and Dale?
I was at the University of Washington as a graduate assistant, and one of his good friends, Jeff Price, who's now the head coach at Lynn University, said that he thought he had a guy that could help coach, and coach hired me without really knowing me. And he's had a major impact on my life. Coach Lair is a terrific, terrific man and a great coach.
Is that where you met Brad Susi, or was that afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of Queens, I guess the fact that their most recent game they beat Kennesaw State and played really well in that one, does that raise the alert level for your team, or is it just the next game because it is the next game?
Dame, the alert level is always raised, but they've got a really good team. You guys will really like watching Kenny Dye as basketball fans. You won't as Liberty fans, because he is a problem. He's a terrific guard. He's not just a scorer, but a creator. He's tough. He's a good defender. He'll play for money. I voted for him or will vote for him for all conference, and already did for all district. I think he's that good. And then McKay, McLaurin, Turner, Matthews. They've got a good team, and they play together. They play really hard. So there's reason for angst. Again, you don't go into Kennesaw. We experience this. And win the game. No one else has, without having a really good plan and a really good team.
I heard Coach Leonard talk about the first ever time when you guys scrimmaged 5 years ago or whatever it was, and that was the first game for Darius. And Blake was talking about he almost had 30 that night. Just to see his growth from that game, not knowing what to expect. He was talking about not knowing the playbook and just going out and playing. And then, to see what he's done over his career, and for him to cap his regular season career at Liberty against Queens, it's a somewhat of a, weird situation, coincidence to go into.
Yeah, I think the kids would call it weird flex. Am I right there? I should probably ask Emily. Yeah, I don't remember the game too much. I know Darius had a bunch of threes that game, and when you have Darius McGee, you don't really have a playbook. It's pretty simple. But I do think there's some irony in it, John, because when he came in, he was all of 5'9", maybe 145, and to see his growth physically, not so much in height. I don't know what he is now, but he's certainly stronger. He's tougher. His emotional capacity is highly developed. Maturity, humility, and then what he's done as a basketball player. To have been a part of that journey or that time lapse, man, I'm grateful, because he's blessed my life and the lives of many that he's touched. So I hope he goes out. I think we won that scrimmage. Hope he goes out with a win as well.
With the quicker turnaround, I guess, one less day, does that affect you much with your preparation?
You mean from Saturday to Wednesday instead of Thursday? No, not this time of year. Heck, I want to practice less, not more, and so do they. They know the significance of it, and you can tell them, have your blinders on, don't be distracted, but they all have phones. So I think our team has proven they're trustworthy enough that we can just sharpen at this time of year. We don't what we do every day is more important than what we do every once in a while. So we don't have these elusive changes to game plans or plays that, I mean, we are who we are. We're an easy scout for the other team, I'm sure, because we just have a little unpredictability because of the way we play.
That said, is there anything when you watch Queens that do they remind you of any teams you've seen already here this year?
Not so much. They're smaller, and it's a 5-out. Really have a intentionality to go downhill. So I don't. Yeah, every team's different, and the way we guard people is sometimes dictated on personnel. So not that I can remember, no.
Going through these seniors that will be honored on Friday, what is your favorite quality or best memory with Darius McKay? We'll start with.
Gosh, how much time do we have? Yeah. So after senior night last year, I thought maybe there's a 0.5% of him returning. And the subsequent weeks, I just remember thinking, how are we going to replace him? Very grateful for what he had done in our program, but was really focused on the all-star games that he was invited to, the agent selection process, talked to the NBA people about him, just trying to resource him with the best information I could. And about halfway before his decision, he said, the option to come back would still be on the table. And I said, really? Yeah, but and he didn't give me any indication he was coming back. And then like 2 days before, he asked about, Malik and what he did with NIL and how he did it. And then he said, Coach, I'm going to come back. So probably the happiest I've been as a coach in a while. But he said, I just want another year with these guys to have a chance to do something special and continue to be a part of this. So that's probably my greatest memory, because that said to me that we have a really healthy family, and for him to want to come back and play with his teammates so they could experience what he had experienced the 3 previous years is really special, really meaningful. He's like a family member. He is an elite servant. Steven Berggraf has a class at noon, so he goes to film before practice, and that usually lasts about a half hour, 45 minutes. He'll do whatever he can do to go to the nth degree of time that it'll take for him to get to his class without being late. Immediately after class, he won't eat. He'll come straight. He's putting on his jersey as he walks into the practice. He won't miss a minute, and he won't ask for one thing. In 5 years, I don't think he's ever asked for anything. So I watched him play. I watched him develop, not unlike Darius, and incredibly proud of him. Are you going to make me go through each one?
Yep.
Why did you come today?
I needed to make up for all the time I've missed.
Well, that would be 26 previous. Never mind. So Blake, Kyle, and Shiloh all do kind of together because they all have a COVID year that they could return, and I want what's best for them. I think it's incumbent upon us as coaches to serve our players that we've been entrusted to lead. And so if any of them want to go and pursue other aspirations, I'm all for it. Blake, he will be, when he leaves our program, sorely missed. He's got an unbelievable personality. Blake can laugh at himself. It's a quality that a lot of men don't possess. He's not easily offended. He's been raised, Ryan and Renee Preston, unbelievable parents, because he's been raised in such a way he'll take on whatever role the team needs, even if it's not a role that he wants for himself. in order for the team to accomplish their desired result. He will be a great employee until he runs his own business or company, because I think that's in his future. Shiloh Robinson, again, he entered Liberty as a 17-year-old, guys. So he could barely look me in the eye. And his visit, my visit to Kearney, his visit, like he was just shy, innocent, and is still sweet as all get out. Wants so badly to please the people that he does life with. And boy, has he ever done that. A terrific young man that has improved as a basketball player. He's loved by his teammates. He doesn't say a lot, but when he says it, you can see everyone lean in because he's got something valuable to give us. Yeah, Kyle Rode. He's a once-in-a-generation type player. I don't know how many guys I've coached that are like him. When you're a head coach and you trust a player so much so that literally he could run practice. We could not be there as a coaching staff in a game, and our team would be really competitive because that dude just knows what to do. Whatever he chooses to do, he'll excel at. And the people that are around him will be better from being around him. He's that kind of kid.
Did you see that quality in him, in Kyle Rode, when you were recruiting him, or does that came out?
His coach, Coach Valentine, told me, you're going to want him after the first 10 minutes of practice. They warmed up the first 10 minutes, and I knew I wanted him. Amazing. He's just that dude. He really is. And he and Jess, as well as Blake and Amelia, I'm happy for the way they've got a chance to experience Liberty, because they met their spouses. Well, Kyle had a relationship with Jess before then, but she came to Liberty. So I think they've all benefited from being here, but more importantly, we've all benefited from their time at Liberty, which I hope doesn't end. But if it does, I'll trust the Lord.
Have you had conversations with them yet about that, or is that something that you generally wait till the off season?
We've had conversations, yeah, but there's some immediate things that need to be addressed, and those can wait until the season's finished.
Coaches and players like routine, a senior day and all that goes into that, the ceremony and all is different than the normal routine. You've been through a lot of them now. How do you approach those? There can be a lot of emotion involved in that, knowing that you have to turn around and try to get everybody locked back in just minutes later. Is that a unique challenge? How do you kind of approach that?
It's a great question. I don't ever deal with it until our season concludes. So we don't have a senior day until we've played our last game. Then reality hits for me because I still get to coach them the game after senior day. And so we'll honor and celebrate them at the appropriate time. But for those guys that are going through it, sure, it's emotional. Their families are here. They walk on the court. There's a lot of extracurricular around the day that could maybe distract you from the task at hand. But again, I trust this group, and the guys that have gone before them have appropriated it well. So I would fully anticipate our guys doing the same.
Is it easier? I mean, obviously Queens is a challenging opponent, but is it easier having them as the senior day opponent and having just played them 2 days before because you've got a game plan out and there's some freshness to it?
Well, that game in between, or the day in between games, is always a light day for us, so it'll be a light day on Thursday. But yeah, we won't have to. We usually will clean up the game that preceded the next game, but we won't have to do the full scout because we had just played them. So easier. I think they're all hard. I think the preparation of opponent personnel will be easier for our guys because they obviously just did it.
Is there worry for you as far as the Wednesday game, because all the attention right now seems to be on, understandably so, on the Friday game being senior day, yet there's a game Wednesday on the road as well?
No worry at all. I'll worry about Friday when it comes. So it's our third game in a row on the road, and it's a quality opponent, and winning on the road's hard, so we'll be fully locked into that one. The next one we'll worry about when the time comes.